and you saw that, like Isaac Robinson, he went OB long.
Well,
It's really easy to throw OB going the left side. The hyzer, when me and Ezra did our practice round out there, we found that the hyzer at best probably gets us to like 30 feet right of the basket, but the worst is just out in the middle of the fairway, and you just chip up and take your three.
yeah.
So the only reason I didn't do that the final round is when we were like playing those first couple holes, the wind picked up significantly. It kind of died down throughout the day, but it was probably 10, 15 miles per hour. And it was like a head left to right. And I was like, okay, there's no way this disc is getting anywhere near
Mm.
there. So,
Well, do you feel like on that hole
I
it's
went the
a?
other way.
Do you feel like on that hole it needs a Mando, or would it just be
OB.
solved by moving the tee forward, like
No, I
20 feet, 10 feet?
see, I think if you want, I don't like moving the tee forward because I like where it's at because it allows the turnover,
Mm.
which is a hard shot, and it allows the inside forehand. I
Okay.
would say if you don't want to put a Mando there, which is fine, you can do that. The other way to do it is you literally make that fairway on the right all OB.
Mm.
So now the people that are throwing that hyzer shot out there, that is a risk reward shot. If you pull it off,
Yeah.
you probably have a putt. But if you get it too wide and you hit the tree, or it doesn't swing as much as you thought, you literally just threw a shot basically all OB, and now you're having to re-tee. So I love that kind of idea too. If you want to continue to, because I know people love seeing those types of shots as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But when there's no risk involved, that's where it's tough for me because you want to reward players for taking risky shots.
Mm. See, that's a
And
clip. I
and
saw the clip on Twitter, and Simon was throwing over the gallery. So in my head, it was OB.
no,
But
that's
yeah.
all in play.
Oh yeah.
My
Then why
first
why
shot,
not pitch it out there?
yeah, my first round, I clipped the tree because you do have to kind of like
It's a
fade
weird
in
angle.
front.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to fade it in front of these trees, and mine ended up kind of flipping up a little more than I expected. Clipped the tree, so I was like 200 feet away, pin high in the middle of the fairway,
Mm.
and so I just threw a putter up and made par and moved on.
Yeah.
To me, that should probably be out of bounds, and that would be my biggest takeaway for Glendoveer is moving forward. I think that's what they need to look at is those type of shots of okay, when someone goes way, some of these holes require rollers, so it's like okay, how do we make it? Hole four is a great hole. Like I love hole four. Um, it's a roller hole for most people, but the whole left side is OB. So you're throwing your roller out over OB
Mm.
and having it kind of come in. And if your angle's off or anything's wrong, you're basically having to re-tee essentially. So I like that kind of play of where you're basically making it to where bad shots get really penalized because you're not really penalizing someone being 200 feet left of the basket because their roller never stood up. That person is just getting a par.
Yeah.
They're not having to. And that's the tricky thing right now is everyone's so good that anything like inside of 200 feet on a course like that without that many trees, you're getting up and down.
Yeah.
You should be. If you're not, you're going to end up being where I am, down the leaderboard. So with how easy putting is right now, that's where it's really tricky. And until they can figure out a way of making putting more difficult, you have to unfortunately really penalize bad shots on the tee. I don't love it. Like I would love to have it to where if you're 200 feet away, like not everyone's going to throw that under the basket every time. You're sometimes going to throw it to 20 feet. And I would love if like a 20 footer was a little bit more difficult than what it is now,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not. So the only way of really making like score separation happen to where you're not having, someone that threw a good shot to 50 feet and missed their putt and someone that shanked it 200 feet left and now they just chip up and get the same score. You got to do hazard. You got to do OB. To me, I think also I think hazard is something that is super underutilized clearly because we never see it. And I think a course like this, where you're having a lot of people throw big flex shots, big rollers, I love hazard way more than OB because I want the person that barely missed the fairway to not get as penalized as the person that just completely shanked it and it's way over there. Now they have to go way over there and throw.
Yeah.
I love that for making kind of really bad shots. Not because with the OB, everyone just pulls it back in. You're on the fairway again.
Yeah. Silas, did anyone in the chat bring up what they thought of the Mando situation?
Yeah. The majority of people like me were saying that it wasn't super noticeable.
Yeah.
Like at all. And I like commentary didn't even mention it really. I didn't think they needed to. I think it just blended well
It's just
with
how
the
course played. So I mean, I guess as players, if y'all didn't feel like it was too much to keep track of, then is what it is. I just saw someone post about it, so I was curious what it felt like playing it.
No, like I said, if anything, it needed probably more. I will say the number one rule that's broken on tour. What do you think it is?
The number one rule that's broken on tour. Probably where you run up and is that even the same rule anymore? I was gonna say where you plant your foot in accordance to a Mando versus the basket, but I think they changed that rule.
Think about how many times that actually happens. You gotta think of something that happens, like something that people are in this situation quite frequently. Because what you just mentioned,
I was just thinking because the Mando. I was thinking because Mandos. We're just talking.
That might happen 1 out of like 10.
Well, I also think they changed.
Tournaments.
I also think they changed that rule, so I don't even think that's it anymore. The most broken rule. I have no idea. I mean, I would say like foot faults that just never get called.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's foot faults. So obviously you have the putting foot faults with people jumping. You know, there's pictures and videos of people both feet off the ground and the disc is still in their hand.
Yeah.
There's, people have taken 100 screenshots of me step putting where they're claiming my foot is on the ground and the disc is still in my hand. Those are probably the number, like those for sure. But the other foot fault is people throwing from out of bounds. And I've seen it happen multiple times. I've seen it happen on coverage. I've seen it happen in person.
Where their foot's are still on the ground when they throw? Is what you're saying?
No one throws the power backhand and their back foot is off the ground when the disc is out of their hand. It's impossible. It is not physically possible to throw far with your back foot off the ground.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
I want to look up the pictures.
Pull up anyone throwing. You dig. You have to use the ground to push off of.
But you're pushing into your release. So like you're bracing, all your weight's being transferred to your front foot, and your back foot's pushing.
It doesn't come off though until after the disc is out of your hand. Try to throw, like people watching this right now or listening. Next time you're out of the golf course, like over exaggerate, making sure your back foot's off the ground before you release the disc, and you will realize real quick.
I don't know.
That is not a.
Here, I found it. Got a picture of Paul throwing, back foot's fully off the ground, disc still in hand.
Hold up, let me see it. Is he throwing a power shot?
Yeah, off the tee. Putting a ton of power in it. How am I sending this to you, Silas? How am I getting this on here? All right, I'm downloading this image. I'm gonna airdrop it. Nope, can't even airdrop it to Silas. How on earth? How are we getting this on the stream, Silas?
Yeah, we need to get this on the stream. Prove me wrong.
All right, Silas. What?
I've had multiple.
Can I put it in the notes? Okay, give me a second here.
I mean, I'm watching a slow-mo of him throwing, and his back foot's on the ground the whole time.
I'm not gonna say it's every single time, but I'm going through and there's a Shoestrick frame by frame that his back foot's off. There's another Paul frame by frame his back foot's off.
I mean, this is way out of his hand.
But there's no weight on his back foot there, so I can see where you can do it.
Well, hold on. Hold on. I'm not saying you can't do it. What I'm saying is not natural throw. Again, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it's impossible.
I'm putting this in the NAS. In the NAS, the nasty NAS. How's it actually pronounced, Silas?
Brody doesn't even know about that.
No, he probably doesn't. I'm gonna put it in
NAS.
the Trevor transfer.
It's technically called the NAS. NAS.
Now, how the heck do I get
I
something
know
into
what that
here?
is.
Brody,
Let's look
we
at
got-
Eagle, because Eagle really torques his body.
Team
So
folder.
he might actually be someone that's good that gets his foot off the bat.
All right, Silas. It should be in the Trevor transfer folder. So that we can throw this on the stream.
Oh, Eagle's close. Eagle is very close. He might be another one that gets his back foot off the ground.
I have no idea what it's called, man. Don't ask me stuff like that. You got it? All right, there it is. All right, it's about to be cut onto your screen. Boom. There's a picture.
Eagle's back foot off the ground.
There's another one. Okay, so Eagle, we got Paul, Eagle. So it does happen.
So certain throwing styles, I will now. I mean, we have a video of Paul doing it and not doing it.
Yeah.
This scenario, Eagle's not doing it. Eagles might be the most drastic of all of them.
And he throws far. So you can argue that you really should have your back foot off the ground. Something to think about.
So?
I vividly remember at USDGC one year, the first time I ever saw it happen, like intentionally, was Ricky on hole.
Wait a second.
Okay.
This is a dark horse one. He goes. This is weird. His back foot goes off the ground and then
Back
here,
onto the
I'll
ground.
pause it, and then back. Okay. So here, foot is barely off.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Foot's off the ground.
And then it goes back on the ground.
Fascinating.
Back touching.
That's weird.
What I'm saying is, I think this is my point. My point is, I think it's one of those things where the gray area is so severe, and there are some people that in their head they're like, I know that my back foot is probably not going to be off the ground when I throw this, so they end up just doing a standstill, right?
Yeah.
And I think that they're at a huge disadvantage than the person that's like, oh, well, I'm just gonna do it anyways and see if someone calls me on it. That's my kind of point. So yes, clearly we have seen that even when you're not trying to do it. I'm gonna look up one more person.
Yeah, I was gonna say the one I remember was Ricky, hole 15, I believe it is, at USDGC, the triple Mando hole. It was
His foot was off.
Well, so what happened was he went. I'm trying to remember how he got in the situation he was. It was the whole left field was OB, and he had like made the Mando, but was OB left, and the line he wanted to throw forehand through. I wonder if it wasn't a Mando.
So it's 100% player dependent.
Yeah, it's just throwing
Calvin.
style.
Calvin throws probably top 5, foot's on the ground the whole time.
Yeah. But he threw forehand, and I remember what he did was like if his foot was way out of bounds, it opened this lineup he wanted to take. And so what he did is he stood with 1 foot inbounds behind his like marked line now, and 1 foot I mean it's Ricky straddling, so a solid like few feet out of bounds, and so he could throw farther over this OB line. And he asked everyone on the card to watch his off foot, and basically what he did is he wound up and then lifted his left foot, ripped through, and then planted his left foot so that his whole body was over the OB. But like when the disc released, his foot was off the ground, and then he just put his foot back down. So like gave him this like wide open gap, and it was legal. Everything worked.
I'm fine with that.
It was fascinating because like it just it was a risky play, but yeah.
Yeah, especially when he knows that like he clearly knows that he's trying to do something.
Yeah, and he told everyone on the card like, "Hey, watch my left foot. What I'm gonna do is like push off, throw, and then plant again. I want y'all to make sure." And everyone watched it. And was like, "Yeah, that's fine."
I gotta see if I'm a foot off or foot on guy. Where do you know?
I think I'm a foot on for sure because my lower body's so much slower than my upper body. That's my whole problem, my form. My lower body is like a half second behind my upper body. Not actually a half second. I think
Drew, foot off. Drew's a foot off
yeah,
guy.
I think that I'm trying to think. I feel
Or
like
at least again in this one.
trying to think
So
of
I feel like
players that I
sometimes-
know are foot. Paige Pierce's foot never leaves the ground.
No, but I've seen Drew also throw with. I think when he throws like really hard, his foot doesn't leave the ground.
I think it depends on the angle they're throwing too. I think a hyzer you're more likely to get your
Why
foot
is
off.
your foot come
but,
off?
like, a
that
flat-
might be true.
Trying to like drive flat.
That might be it.
Yeah.
Because Eagle leans over like him and Kevin Jones. It's almost impossible for them to keep their back foot on
Yeah.
because they lean over so much.
Yeah.
That's 100% what it is, Hunter.
Yeah,
You
because
just broke it.
I think if you are trying to throw flat or back, you have to have more weight on your back foot as you're pushing through, which keeps your foot on the ground.
Like there's no way that you can throw like a flex shot with your back foot off the ground.
I think it'd be very hard. I think you'd be off
Like
balance.
natural.
Well, because like Paul,
Yeah.
when he throws an Anheuser, I don't think his back foot really ever leaves the ground. Like even when he does his follow through, his back foot like slides around. Because like it's unnatural to transfer that much weight.
I'm trying to find Drew throwing something that's not a hyzer, which is
That's very, very difficult.
very, very hard to do.
he just
but-
goes flip your disc on the same amount of hyzer. That's exactly what I do, so I can't say anything. He does it much better than I, but that's still how I play.
I mean, a little bit better.
Slightly. But that's my philosophy.
I think you broke the code.
Yeah, I think it's the angle you throw on.